What's up, y'all? We back to talk about issue 2 of Absolute Batman. And like I said, my issue 1 was the noir edition. It was black and white. It looked cool in person, but it was obviously black and white, so I can't add color to an issue I don't have. But now you see issue 2 is in color, so let's get into it. So there's some time that passes between issue 1 and issue 2. So Batman is just kind of going around. The party animals have been causing a bunch of ruckus, mischief, and hullabaloo through the city. So he's been, trying to target like the big events and, stop his money at one time as possible. So that's where we end up here. And after he blammed Alfred in the face with the shotgun, they don't work together, but they work in tandem because Batman is good for Alfred's, end goal. So he's trying to get Sionis, aka Black Mask, to step out. So the more Batman disrupts the whole entire organization, the closer Black Mask is to coming out and dealing with them. He don't help him directly, but it's kind of indirect, surveillance and stuff like that. But when you look at what Batman is doing with these groups, like he is 10 toes the whole time, and every single time he thinks he's back into a corner, they think they got him, pinned down. He do some crazy Batman shit. I don't know. Look at this. He's back against the wall in an aquarium. He got spikes on his back. Instead of trying to grapple away, jump away, and think they got him, he pierces the water, slides it out, empties out the tank, which is very inhumane. Me, person who loves aquariums, that's kind of fucked up to do it all them fishes. But drops a thing in the water that turns it into hydrochloric acid and burns them all and makes them all run away. Now, again, I'm going to say this every single time. I will not be messing with this Batman. If I was a party animal, so I understand I need money. I need something to do, some organization to be a part of. But doing getting burned with hydrochloric acid after we just jumped 50 to 1 dude, you got to learn when to hold him. You got to learn when to fold him. You got to learn when to walk away. And in normal Batman aspect, when the cops get there to actually arrest all the people that he'd been fighting, he disappears into the sewer, into the sky, into a vehicle or whatever. So Alfred has been mapping out every one of these exits and where his safe houses are. And of course, you got to fit with the theme. It's a little on the nose, but that's some Batman shit right there. It matches that ugly ass bulky symbol that he has. So now we get into a little transitioning period where it's not really Batman, it's Alfred kind of surveilling Bruce Wayne to see what he do, to see his patterns, because obviously he knows who Bruce Wayne is. So this is where this universe really sets itself apart, because not only is his mom alive, which I briefly mentioned last video, but he is not rich. This man is working construction all day. How you get to, I thought that is the reason he was Batman, because one, he was rich, and two, he didn't have to do no actual work during the day, so he can have the energy to be Batman. But this man working a construction job and being Batman at night, so that's how you know he ain't no just regular dude. Like, his body is built way differently than it should be. And on top of being a construction worker, he also visits Joseph Chill, his father's killer, on a semi-regular basis, which makes Alfred admire him a little more. We don't know exactly what they talk about, but he does visit him, so I can't imagine. But with the surveillance that he has on Bruce and Batman, he knows where most of his safe houses are. So we see the party animals running up to the safe house, and a little exposition that Alfred has about Batman, where he thinks with the party animals pressing Batman so much, he is going to have to retreat and regroup at some point, but then makes the realization that Batman don't do none of that shit. That ain't even in Batman repertoire, ain't even in his book, ain't even in his vocabulary. There is no retreat. There is only advance forward, and you got the tough ass line, Batman as fuck, because he only advanced forward. He even rigged the building to explode and make the bat's face when it did. If that's not Batman as fuck, I don't know what is. But we gonna pause for a second, because this may be answered later in the series, but if Batman is working a construction job and he's not rich, so he don't own these buildings that he's hiding out in, he don't own none of this stuff, he just kind of found it abandoned and maybe kind of took a little bit of ownership of it, but squatters' rights or something like that. But why are you blowing up a building knowing you can't pay for it, knowing it doesn't belong to you? That don't sit right with me, but sometimes you just got to make a statement and be damned about the money. So now we do a quick cutaway to Jim Gordon in a hospital bed and talking to one, his daughter, and two, guess who walks in? Martha Wayne. They have a little reminiscent about, obviously they knew Thomas Wayne and worked together in the past. So with Harvey Bullock being with Black Mask in the previous episode and previous issue, now he's kind of like, oh, May, this mayor campaign is really not going to work. I lost my biggest friend backing, and he's getting backed by the biggest crime boss in the city. So they kind of put a plan together and then start reminiscing about the day that Jim Gordon found Bruce Wayne in the zoo after his dad got shot and covered in bats and, the whole, bat origin story and stuff like that. So this is a good exposition where Jim and Martha will start working together. So we'll be seeing a lot more of her in the future. So now we cut away to Bruce going to a poker game with some of his friends that were shown up in the previous issue, but lifelong friends. But I think everybody here knows who they are. We got Waylon, aka Killer Croc, in the last issue. We got Harvey Dent, obviously Two-Face. We got Ozzy, obviously the Penguin. And then we got the Riddler, Edward J. Nigma. So these are all his friends, and there is one seat missing. I will let you guess who it is. I will not tell you until they actually mention it. So at a poker table, and this is where the story gets pushed a little more while they're having this conversation. And these couple pages kind of solidifies my point that I previously just made with the building. They talking about Annie is $20. They playing for a $1,700 pot, talking about raising $200 as a big deal. These boys is broke. So Bruce needs to stop blowing up buildings he has no ownership of. You could do that when you got the money and you own the building and the property. But if you don't own nothing, you can't be blowing up these people's buildings, Bruce. Especially with the 2 eyes in the bottom that was random floors that people probably would still be able to use. Just relax. You broke. You a working man. You can't be doing stuff like that. So while they're having, a little friendly banter, talking shit back and forth, raising money, trying to get this pot, Bruce ends up raising a party animal skull onto the table just to pique the interest and try to get some information. Obviously, he has to lie, say he's on a repair cure for City Hall, how he got it, because they don't know that he's Batman yet. So looking at the skull, most of them don't really care. Like, bro, like, what is this? What'd you bring a skull to the table for? But Edward, aka the Riddler, the smart guy of the group, were like, oh shit, that's a real monkey head. And it got all these circuits and, mechanics in the background. So it shows like what Bruce could figure out from it. But obviously he knew he had a smart friend that could actually dive in and figure out the big thing in it. So Riddler ends up borrowing it. And then we may see later down the line what he pulls from it. And while the Riddler looks into the technology behind the helmet, we have his 2 other friends that have a little expertise in different areas. Obviously, Ozzy is the backroom deals, kind of the under table business type man. So he knows that what's happening with the crime part of the party animals. And then we got Harvey, who's in like the political game of it, understanding, yes, his money. And he has the inside in the actual, city offices to know what's going on, which kind of takes us to the next panel. There is a bunch of money being pulled together in Mayor Hill's office. So obviously Batman goes to investigate, looked at the camera, and look at what he finds. Arc M. So obviously it's Batman. He found exactly what he was looking for, but Black Mask knew that he would find it. So he set a video saying it's a trap, saying we got the cops outside, we about to blow this up, all you got to do is survive, and then we'll have our conversation that we need to have. So in usual Batman fashion, he already had the exit plan. He knew exactly where he was going, slid down the elevator, found a hatch, dropped into it, and lo and behold, Alfred is here. I don't know what he doing, was going on with him, so he probably was trailing Batman. And then he tells him to hear him out because he knew Batman is a good detective, but he also has information that he doesn't know that can mutually help the both of them if they start working together. So as the usual Batman attitude goes, he gives that boy 30 seconds to explain his case. And Alfred was like, all right, cool, I appreciate it, but I got a getaway car if we need to get away. Like, we can't just be sitting here waiting on people to come get us. And like I said, in the usual Batman fashion, he always has an exit plan, and he tells them, you're standing in the getaway car. And then it peeks over to the last panel of the issue. This man got a excavator. Where are you getting this from, bro? Like, what's going on? So with this situation, it does cut off, but they will be having a conversation in the next issue. But look at this vehicle, bro. You can't afford to fix the stuff you are destroying. You can't run through the city, blow shit up, and tear up the roads if you can't help fix them. That was why you got away with this stuff. Half of your superpower was your billions of dollars. Now you don't have that. Now you're just a menace to the society. Come on, Bruce. Come on, Bruce. You gotta start working with with somebody. I don't know. But again, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I've read up a little bit just to read it before I start making these videos, so it gets so much better. I haven't got to the actual like main villains yet, so I can't wait for that. But thank y'all for watching. Make sure you put the like button if you want to see more. I'm gonna continue to make these. I know they keep coming out with them. It's not gonna stop anytime soon. So eventually I will catch up to the weekly, or I don't know how often they actually get released, but I will catch up to the actual, newest releases. So it'll be up to date. So maybe y'all, if y'all don't want to read them, y'all want to spend the money to read them, or if I encourage y'all to start reading them, we can do it together. So shout out y'all. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you come back for more. And deuces.